What's going on, everyone? This is the Raikazi here. Today we got ourselves a very special video. It's going to be both me and Ric Flair McNair as we are about to go through the full Regulation G restricted Pokemon tier list.
Tier list. I got you, buddy.
Yeah.
And this is Ric Flair McNair. You know, your washed up VGC player, kind of okay TCG player, but we're here. We got you.
All right. So today we're going to, like I said, we're going to hit up this Regulation G restricted legendaries format here. Since it's only going to be on the single restricted legendaries, we're going to do a very special series here. So what we're going to do is going to basically rank all the mons, and from S all the way down to the unusable tier, and anything that is going to be possibly usable in a good format. We are going to, in later videos, be demonstrating different sets that you could possibly use with these Pokemon. And we'll start off with the most relevant, starting with the S class, and then going all the way down, maybe C, possibly D, but if we do D, we probably don't expect to win. So that might be the whole thing about that. I would say our S class.
I mean, I'm excited.
You what?
I said I'm excited, especially because, like you said, after we finish doing the rankings, we're gonna go back and play sets with all of them. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm excited for.
Oh yeah, and I think that's going to be like super fun once we actually get started on that. So this is just the preliminary video that we're doing here today, and then after that, I think it's going to be really fun. I think it's going to also help on all of the viewers' skill sets, as even on our own skill sets, as we're using some of these more like BC tiers and trying to make them good. It really makes you think about the metagame and how to compensate with using a different legendary and trying to face off against, as we'll probably call them, the big baddies.
Yeah, but I'm good at using Pokemon that aren't quote unquote good.
So we're gonna go down the list here. So first off, we're gonna just hop right in, and we got leading off the barrel here is Koraidon. So
where do you have Koraidon? Because I can tell you, I have him dead set middle of like B tier. In my opinion, he is the standard for B tier. Like he needs the Paradox Pokemon to work really well, right? His ability sets them all off, but he doesn't give you the greatest advantages in matchups with his typing, in my opinion.
With the typing, because he's dragon fighting.
So I mean, one D-Gleam and you're crying going home.
Mm-hmm.
And with the rise of Draining Kiss on Shadow Rider is also just a pop. But again, I think he's B tier because he's not bad. He is very usable. Setting up the sun is great. It gives you weather control. He turns on all your Paradox Pokemon if you want him to.
Okay.
I think he's great, but the problem is he just has so many weaknesses, and he locks you into a certain type of team. Like if you're running Koraidon, you need to be using weather, or you need to be either Paradox or Sun team. Like he has to be on one of those, and then you have to have 1 to 2 answers for fairy types.
The only thing I actually have a thing about in that regard, in that statement in itself, because I have a little bit of a battle between maybe top of B tier, if not possibly bottom of A tier. The reason being,
go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you right off. I'm so sorry.
You're good. So the reason being is something for a similar set is that with a Koraidon, basically you already know that its Terra type 99.9% of the time is that it's going to be Terrafire. And on most teams that I've ever seen, if you see a Koraidon, you know that is the Pokemon that's going to Terrasilize. So because if you know that, and let's say if you're going facing off against like a Fluttermane, you are going to Terrasilize out of the Fluttermane's D-Gleam or Moonblast. So they'll be wasting their turn if they're actually going for their attack. And then what everybody's doing is they're hitting up with a double dip, and they're going with Flame Charge. So
yeah, I got Flame Charge and Flare Blitz and Collision Course on mine.
Yep.
I also usually rock a Clear Amulet.
Yep. And that's exactly what it would always run. So if it's always going to have the Clear Amulet, having that Flame Charge, and then with the Flare Blitz, then Fluttermane can't beat it. Unless it's like immediately attacking with like Power Gem and maybe doing a lot of damage at that point. Because what is stopping someone from doing, like, let's say with open team sheet, let's say if they have a Fluttermane going with only Dazzling Gleam, that's their only fairy type move, right? So what is stopping somebody from building a team like this? Focus Sash, Inner Focus, Wide Guard. With that, D-Gleam, bring it down to Focus Sash, can't fake it out. Oh, and also, let's not forget coaching.
Oh, yeah. And no, I agree with you. Like, this is a strong set. But the reason I think that it should be top of B tier is that it pigeonholes you. Like you said, you have to Terrafire this thing.
Yes.
You have to.
Yes.
And your opponent knows that when you sit down with them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying it's a bad Pokemon. I'm
right.
not saying it gives you bad flowcharts. I just think that because it makes you a flowchart and you're required to play it this way, it has very little flexibility in its moveset and its team building, in my opinion.
Yes, and I completely agree. And actually, now that I'm even thinking about it, I'm thinking that I may have misinterpreted what you said, like when you said in the middle of B tier. You mean the middle?
I mean middle as in like the middle of the ranking, but it is the top of B tier for me.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. So then, you know what? As of right now, I think I'll agree with that. Just because with that explanation itself, because I think S class itself is going to be, you know, creme de la creme. You know, it's like if this Pokemon just starts off, you're like, oh God, how do I have to deal with this? With Koraidon, and I kind of laugh when I go against Koraidon. And don't get me wrong, Koraidon, I love Koraidon. It is actually my favorite box legend between the two because I just love its design.
I prefer its design too.
I think it's a better Groudon, even though Groudon is my absolute favorite box legend of all time. But Koraidon is like, okay, it's the better, faster Groudon. But I feel that because of its hindrance of its Terra type, or rather that it requires the terrestrialization, and then when I even go against it, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just going to bring my Pelipper. And a standard Pokemon can knock the socks off of a Pokemon like Koraidon, which doesn't make sense. But I'm like, okay, I'm just going to summon the rain. You can't hit me that hard anymore. You go for Collision Course, not very effective, and I Hurricane you, and you're dead. Or if you're
Pelipper's a great counter. You're right.
Yeah.
Like,
so, and the fact
especially Weather Ball.
So if they're going Terrafire, then I always save my Pelipper to back. I'm like, all right, I know that you're going to do this. I know you're going to use your terrestrialization. Once you do, I'm going to send in Pelipper and I'm going to take you out. So the fact that I can use just without utilizing any of my major resources by just having a general Pokemon on my team to take you out, then I'm like, okay, I'm totally cool with that. So, yes, so I'll say as of right now, we will set him in the B tier.
Now, you brought him up, and I think they share a lot of similarities, so I want to go ahead, if you don't mind. Groudon.
Yep.
In my opinion, Groudon is right behind Koraidon in B tier.
Oh, so
I think
they
do the exact same strength and the exact same weaknesses.
Okay.
Where Groudon is better at like using your chlorophyll users for their speed advantages, so like Venusaur and the likes of that. it does the same thing, right? The only difference is instead of being a dragon fighting type, it's just a pure ground type. We
Yeah.
still setting the sun. We still have the same weakness to Pelipper. We still turn on the Paradox Pokemon. We still help the Chlorophyll Pokemon. It's the same, right? You're just fighting over what speed tiers at that point.
It is the speed tiers. What in the world? Okay, like speed tiers itself. Let me move this and put these really close together here. So let's take Groudon, drive him up
I
next to
mean,
Koraidon.
while you're setting that up, they even both, for the most part, run the same item, Clear Amulet.
Yes, so they both definitely run same item. Um, I wondered. I think yeah, Groudon has more physical defense.
Yeah,
There's special
Groudon's a little more
defense.
bulky for sure,
Yeah,
but
but what
they
I've
are the same in my opinion.
and one thing though is
The
that
only
what people are
I'm
pairing
sorry,
with
I keep
this mon.
stepping on your toes.
I know
I was
you're
about to
good.
say the only big difference is for Groudon is Swords Dance, right? The Swords Dance sets are really the only thing that set it apart from Koraidon. Otherwise, they both run Terra Fire. They both clear Amulet. They're both setting the sun. It really just turns into, do you want a setup sweeper, or would you prefer a just, I don't want to say, I guess more balanced approach. Koraidon to me is more balanced, whereas Groudon is trying to be more setup sweep.
Right. And so then what makes you say and I can't believe this is paining me. This does pain me to say this. Because since we do have Koraidon
Hmm.
being the better Groudon,
Yep.
should we not I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I'm saying this. Should we not have Groudon in C?
No, I think that's too big of a jump down. Like, if you look at some of the other Pokemon that are on there, like, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but if you compare Groudon to, let's say, another fire type, Ho-Oh, where are you putting Ho-Oh? You know, like, to me, Ho-Oh is a C tier Pokemon, whereas Groudon is better than Ho-Oh.
Groudon is definitely better than Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh, I think, needs to be in a double restricted format.
Yes, because it just needs too much support.
Yeah,
I think the reason, here's the main argument. I think the reason that Groudon can go in the same tier as Koraidon, in my opinion, they fill the same role. They just have different play styles. They're
yeah,
both weather setters. They both set up Paradox Pokemon. They both set up the Chlorophyll. It's just a different play style at that point. But I do think the Koraidon is better because I think Groudon can't hit as many threats and gets hit by more threats than Koraidon does. So I think Koraidon should be ranked higher than Groudon, but to me they play the same role. Oh, I need a weather setter. Well, here you go. Oh, I'm running a lot of Paradox Pokemon. Here you go.
I mean, and that's true. That is true. I mean, oh, now there are a few other things that can, and I think you're right. I mean, and I'm happy to keep him in B tier myself because I'm just like I love
And,
this mon.
and when we start looking at other ones, he might move down, but
Yeah,
I just think what Groudon gives you and what Koraidon gives you are so similar. Now, I also think that the balanced playstyle that Koraidon leads your team to be makes your teams a little more versatile than what Groudon wants to pigeonhole you into, but they're essentially the same.
they are. I think though with Groudon, it actually does open up a few more opportunities to determine whether or not if you because like Koraidon you have to keep your speed and you're going with the flame charge. I mean it's you can't make yourself slow enough for like a
Yeah.
trick room team. Groudon, however, is able to do that. You can I believe it's brave, right? Brave nature.
Oh yeah, no, like
Yeah.
you can totally run Groudon on a Trick Room or a half and half team
Yeah.
and be happy with it. Like I think that's a very fair strat right there.
Yeah. And imagine like running it next to I know nobody's using it right now, but let's say you did put it with, God bless, I'm typing it right there. What if we actually did trick your opponent, right? And run it with Venusaur, with Chlorophyll, and then they're like, oh, okay, cool, you're going with a full fast team, but not even realizing that you are running slow Groudon, and if they go Trick Room, then you out slow them, so therefore you move first.
So what you're describing, without going too far in the future, is what I was building. I have a double weather slow Groudon team, and without too many spoilers, look at the three you have there. Add Pelipper, put Weather Ball on Venusaur and Pelipper,
Oh,
and I'm
nice.
putting the ball in my court to where I'm controlling the weather for what I want it to be.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Okay. See, we thinking alike. We thinking alike. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So, okay. So for right now, we'll keep him in B tier. I love this mon. I love that mon. Shiny is a bit to be desired, but I still have it. I got one, and shiny is beautiful whenever it's in its primal form. But I digress. Okay.
One day.
Before we go any further, I want to say thank you so very much for joining us here at Card Shark Dojo. Be sure that you are leaving a like, sharing, and subscribing, as it's going to greatly help us out as we are trying to grow this channel. And also make sure you have those notifications turned on so you don't miss when the next video goes live. Also, sometimes I know you all just want to sit back and not take things so seriously. So with that in mind, head on over to the Raikazi Twitch and YouTube page. There, we do various forms of content, including my very special Pokemon Roulette VGC series, other video games, skits, reactions, as well as reviews. So if you want to see some fun videos, learn about some new anime, play some other types of games, or anything of that sort, be sure to head on to those pages and subscribe for the fun. Links to those various channels are in the description box below. Hope to see y'all there. But for now, back to the video. Next mon, Miraidon. Okay.
Go ahead and drag them up to the top.
It is what it is.
All the way up.
Now,
nothing can stop me, man. We're all the way up here.
Now, I have a bit of an issue with this mon. How best to even put it? It's I don't want to say this it's not in a negative format, and not a negative meaning per se. However, I feel as though this mon is low IQ, high reward.
But you could say the same thing about every Pokemon in S tier. Like, if your Pokemon is in S tier, it means it needs almost no support from the rest of your team. It's just that good. And Miraidon is that. Miraidon can be put on any team and just be that good. Like, if you slap a choice spec and just start electro drifting away, you'll win 50% of your games. Just that alone.
You see, the thing is, though, like, because, matter of fact, because I have a slight argument with that, but let's bring it in right now. Let's find out. Let's find out. Where would you say Cali Ice goes? Where's this mon?
So for me, Cali, that's S tier as well.
S tier? Okay. So
yes, and it's actually I mean, do you want me to spoil it? I can give you my top 3, and I can put them in order for you, and we can argue the order of them.
All right, what you got? What you got?
I got Shadow Riders 1, Ice Riders 2, Miraidons 3.
Okay. Okay. So if this was the case, let's look at that. And I agree definitely with these Callies. The Callies run the show. However, so
that's not S tier, just those 3.
The thing about, and which we'll touch base on, but let's look at these two just for right now, Cali Ice and Miraidon. So we say that when you're saying that these mons, that if they can run with no support. However,
all 3 of these mons can.
I don't think Cali Ice can. Cali Ice requires like somebody to help pivot around it, or like to basically control the focus of the team while your opponent's basically going after the Ice Rider to try to make sure it doesn't set up Trick Room, because Ice Rider needs Trick Room. It's a it's
Yes.
a
Now, that was going to be my caveat. I don't consider Trick Room to be a supporting cast. And what I mean by that is if you are running a non-Trick Room team, Shadow Rider and Miraidon are the two choices that should be at the top of your list unless there's a reason you want to play something else. If you are running Trick Room, which I don't consider to be a support, I consider that to be a play style. That is a style of play. Just like Bulky O is a style of play, Pivot. So to me, Calyrex doesn't need support because if you're choosing to play Trick Room, it's the S tier Pokemon. You wouldn't run anything else if you didn't have a reason to without just going straight Calyrex.
Okay. And now I see what you mean with that explanation. The challenge that I'm having though is that in discussing with Miraidon in itself, this mon it has this issue. I think is that okay? It comes out. It's like okay, I set the electric terrain. And now on my next turn, on my first turn rather, I'm going to just Volt Switch. I'm not going to go Electro Drift. I'm going to Volt Switch, expecting you to swap into another terrain. And I'm going to hit you really hard because I'm Choice Specs, switch back out, come back in, and then hit you again. And it's like, really? But, so I definitely will say it is S-Class. But I think it's higher than Cali Ice because you're just like, oh crap, this thing's about to hit me. Is it going to pivot out? And then do I swap in now or how can I stop it from swapping out so I can try to trap it? Versus Cali Ice, you're like, okay, who's a Trick Room setter? Or is it Cali Ice itself? And how can I take it out? And that's where these two differ, is because Callie is either trying to set up or protecting while somebody else sets up. While Miraidon just goes. It just attacks. And that's why when I say, because I think with Cali Ice, it's more of it requires a bit more IQ in that regard. Because you're just like, okay, how can I get my pivot right? Who am I terrestrializing? When am I terrestrializing? Am I going to will I be able to avoid getting burned? When are they going to use Wide Guard? When do I use my Glacial Lance? Things like that. Versus that of a Miraidon is just like, and button press. And
for me, I don't consider it being low. Like, I'm not considering Calyrex Ice to be low IQ because it's on a Trick Room team. Trick Room itself is high IQ.
Oh,
if
yes,
you look at just
absolutely.
the Pokemon of Calyrex Ice. Calyrex Ice is also just as low IQ as Shadow Rider and Miraidon. If you already have Trick Room up and going, we're clicking Glacial Lance. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Whether you like, that's what's happening. Like, just like Miraidon, if you have a terrain setter on your team that's in the back, I'm clicking Volt Switch to make you bring it out so I can set mine back up. Just like if I have Shadow Rider, if you don't have an answer for Astral Barrage, I'm just clicking Astral Barrage. Like, they all have the same game plan. In my opinion, what you're saying is you think the Miraidon on a balanced team is stronger than a Calyrex Ice on a Trick Room team. That's what it sounds like you're arguing, because a balanced team, for most cases, is easier to pilot than a Trick Room team. But if I'm looking at just the Pokemon itself, pretending that all variables are equal, let's say it's on the perfect team with its perfect setup, I think both horses are better than Miraidon because they have a snowball effect. If I kill one, I'm bigger. I'm getting rewarded for what the Pokemon wants to do anyways.
Okay. And I think that there's some challenges with that. And the reason why is because I am saying that Cali Ice is higher IQ to be used because of how the style of Trick Room, you're on a timer. How much can you do on that timer, and can you get, if possible, or if needed.
But is that
But
Calyrex Ice or is that Trick Room that's doing that?
oh no, that's what I'm saying. I was like talking about in terms of the trick room for that timer, and then whether or not are you able
Yeah.
to get another one set up or not. That's why I'm saying that the trick room itself makes it more of a higher IQ, and which is not a bad thing per se. I think though is that
No.
it's more difficult to pilot the Cali Ice than it is for Maridon. Maridon is a faster, like I'm about to hit buttons real quick, and then if you don't take this thing out, then it's just going to, or rather, if it gets away from you, swaps out, then they can swap in like an Intimidate or something like that. Or you go for what I'm seeing a lot right now is Maridon paired with Farigiraf. You can't even fake the thing out because Farigiraf is just sitting there, and it's like,
Yeah.
what do I do? But if you put the same, and like let's say for example Chi-Yu, put Chi-Yu facing off against that, Chi-Yu will try to, if it even wants to go Heat Wave, or it's not going to do much because of the typing. But you go against the Farigiraf, it's like, okay, let me go ahead Dark Pulse and try to get rid of this thing. But put the same Chi-Yu in front of a Cali Ice. Then Cali Ice is like, oh god, I need to Terra because I don't know if, even if I have a Farigiraf next to me, I can't get my Trick Room off. I have to protect, but then Farigiraf might die because Chi-Yu is like staring me down. So it's like it has.
I still think that's just a drawback of Trick Room, more so than Calyrex Ice. But I don't. How do I say it? I don't think this is that big of a difference. Like when I say Shadow Rider, Ice Rider, Maridon, that's like saying 99, 98 and a half, 98. Like you could put
Yeah.
those three, in my opinion, in any order, and I'd be happy. It's just those three are the locked in. This is S tier. Everything else is beneath these three.
Well, yeah, and I'll agree. I'll agree with that because I just think it's much easier to pilot with the Maridon than the Kelly Ice. Even though I've been using Kelly Ice lately, and I'm just trying to make sure I learn how to play it. But my original go to was this boy, Cali Shadow.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, doesn't it have the most championship titles at the moment? I think it's got 3 regional or ICs to its name at the moment.
I think it does, because it did super well. Then it faded off, and then Kelly Ice took over. Then Maridon took over. Then Shadow came back.
And I mean, Clover Coat or Life Orb set, both of them are just scary. Like this Pokemon is just when you see on your opponent's side of the field, they have to plan for it, which allows you to run whatever 5 Pokemon you want, plus this. Like this is just a bonus to any team. I don't care what style of team you have. I think Shadow Rider is my clear number 1 because you can put it on anything.
Yeah.
We're a Sun team, cool. I still work. Rain team, cool. I still work. Trick Room, cool. I'll set up first. They deal with me while you set up Trick Room. Like, he can do anything.
And that I completely agree with you there because shoot, Shadow Rider, the biggest counter to Shadow Rider is Shadow Rider itself. Like, you have to then be in the mind game of like, okay, who's faster, who's doing what at that particular point. Other than that, it's like, yeah.
That's when you start seeing the Terra Normals and the Terra Fairy versions come out.
Because that's the only way. It is the
And if you
only
want
way.
to, if you want a really fun set, Astro Barrage, Expanding Force, Life Orb with Protect and Pollen Puff. They don't expect the Pollen Puff.
Pollen Puff.
But it can win you some games. Yeah, look, who expects Shadow Rider with Pollen Puff, right?
Yeah.
But if you know that your Pokemon's going down, you can Pollen Puff your own teammate and be fine with it.
It's true. It is true.
And then, you know, if those NDDs want to follow me, cool. You'll get one shot by this Pollen Puff.
Does it one shot Indeedee?
I mean, I'm Life Orb. I'm Life Orb 220 special attack.
Oh god, that'll be horrible. That would be insane. I'll probably still go with Astro Barrage just in case because I'm like, let the Indeedee just sit there. So it's more than like I'm not going to do much damage. But that's
It's one of those that if I'm worried, the Pollen Puff example versus Indeedee was if my opponent is also running a Shadow Rider, and I don't know if they're going normal or not.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, yeah. But and that's the thing with the Shadow Rider. I have been seeing more of those. I think it's down here. Yeah, I've been seeing more of the Assault Vest variants coming in. There's of course the Focus Sash variants is coming through. This is just basically saying, okay, I'm just gonna go 252, maximize my speed so I can outpace anybody else, and just going like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna go massive damage. I have run I did it once before, a Kali Shadow, and I did a Choice Specs. I know that's a thing. Just hitting it with the Astral Barrage, even Incineroar can barely handle that thing. Yeah, I mean you can do probably maybe 40% depending on the Incineroar. And then, of course, if you get some extra chip with anybody else, and don't let you already get any stat boost, then Incineroar can't even stop you at that particular point. And then don't let you go with
the Covert Cloak sets are running that Calm Mind, Draining Kiss, Terra Fairy, which is just ridiculous as a setup as its own. But what I love about Calyrex Shadow Rider, you can lead with it and just be oppressive to start with, or you can bring it in the back, and it just cleans up. Like, it can do anything on any team, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. You know, that'll be...
Make that Terra Fairy, and it's just... Oof.
See, and that's the thing. These mons, they're... In all honesty, they're too strong. They're typically too strong. But,
So, you want my real set? I got 140. Keep it there. Mm-hmm. Add Protect. Give it 148 HP. And give it 84 defense, 20 special attack, 4 defense.
Wait, 84 special attack?
Bad boy timid. I run 20 special attack.
20 special attack. And just 4 defense.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And put Protect on that bad boy.
Ooh.
And this is the one that I run. Because, I mean, turn 1, Covert Cloak, keeping me so I can Calm Mind up. And then if I decide to Terra Fairy, Draining Kiss, I'm good.
Yeah.
And you only really need 1 Calm Mind with that set.
That's good. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, we're definitely in agreement here with our top 3. These mons, they're just super oppressive. They currently define the metagame. And that's where you can see the most teams, especially if you're making it into day 2. There's going to be a few, probably of the A tier, wherever you're going to be in the day 2 of the tournaments. But majority is going to be right here if you're going to try to make it into top of the tournaments.
So like your S tiers are your top 32s, right? And your A tiers are your X and 3s, your X and 2s that make day 2. Your B tiers are the ones that can make day 2. They're probably not going to, but they can.
Right.
And your C tiers, you're going to have a good time. You're not making day 2 most likely.
Right.
And your D tiers, you just showed up because you're the driver or you're best friends with someone else who's going to be there.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm here. All right. Like, I like this mod.
So, who do you... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Who do you put at the top of A? Who just missed it for you in S tier?
Who just missed it in S tier. All right.
Yes, sir.
I mean...
Yeah, I want to know who's at the top. Who's at the top of your A, so I can compare it to who's at the top of my A.
Top of A tier? Like the very best of A tier?
Yep. Who just didn't make it into S.
That's the mod that I actually tried in the past. I think
that's what I have too. We agree on that. That is who I have at the top as well.
And I promise you, in the past, when the format was just released, I was running this mod. I was like, "Oh, I'm using this thing," and I ran it with the wide guard, and everybody was like, "What hidden word are you doing? Like, what did?" And then, what did it do? It started running the wide guard at the tournaments, and it was body pressing, and I was like, "This is exactly what I've been talking about this entire time, people. What the crap? This is my
I mean,
this mod is
it's got one
good."
weakness. It's got one weakness. Ghost types. That's it. That's its only weakness. And it's the only reason why, in my opinion, it's not S tier. It is such a good defensive, full stop Pokemon. If you send it out and get up an Iron Defense, or if you don't even need Iron Defense, if you just
really
send
don't.
it out, its presence on the field full stops the opponent. And they come in an impasse. Am I dealing with this wall now, or can I avoid it and deal with the rest of the team? If they choose to deal with the wall, the rest of your team is free to sweep through. If they choose to avoid it, you are free to Iron Defense and body press everything into oblivion.
Yep.
They
Because
got coaching sets with it. They got wide guard defensive sets with it. Like, you could run full defensive pivot with this Pokemon, and I wouldn't argue this is a bad team. Like, you could tell me your team is body press, heavy slam, wide guard, protect, full defenses, like 244 defense, 196 speed, 68 HP, make that bad boy impish. And I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Do it.
Yep. And the only challenge that Zamazenta ever had, because even anytime I faced off against it, and while I've been running Kelly Shadow, I was like, there's the problem with the format is that there's so many Cali Shadows. That is what's causing Zamazenta to not win.
Yep. Or Fluttermanes, it's the same deal. You could argue they have heavy slam. They don't care.
Yes. Yeah. Just
They tear out. They don't care.
Yeah. So this mon it's super good. It's just because of all the restricted that's come in, but I think it is the top of the A tier. The only thing that you got to do to it, you got to burn it. If you can burn it, you're good.
Yeah, its two weaknesses are ghost types and being burned.
Yeah,
that's it. But it supports almost any team comp that you want. Like, I wouldn't run it on a Trick Room team, but like outside of that, that's a legendary that can be plugged in on Hyper Offense, on Pivot, on Stall, on Terrain War, Weather War, and I feel like it can just be, yeah, I'm here too. Don't worry, guys. I got your back. Wide guards for everyone.
Yep.
Coaching for everyone. Or how? I think that house and something else coaches.
I think can it? I know it can definitely do how, yes, but I thought it also gets coaching. Let me double check. I thought it does. It does.
Yep.
It does.
Yep.
It gets coaching.
Yep.
So it can, if need be, help support its teammate if it knows it's going down, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to howl my friend up because I can't hit whoever else is in front of me. Like, what if, you're going against, let's say you got King Gambit on your team. So if you partner this with King Gambit, you go for the coaching while you're facing off against a Cali Shadow. There's like, and so you can't beat Cali Shadow, but the King Gambit can.
Yeah.
And then
I think this. I mean, it's just good. Like we said, it's the top of A.
Yeah. So I definitely like it.
I still think the Iron Defense Body Press Wide Guard set is probably the best, and your last slot can be Protect or Heavy Slam, whatever you feel like your team needs.
Yeah.
But it can just do it all. But while we're on Zamazenta, go ahead and grab its not Rusted Shield form and put it in D.
Yeah, let's do that.
So the reason I'm putting it in D is, yes, technically you can run it and it's legal to not have Rusted Shield, but it doesn't gain any benefit from not running Rusted Shield. No item you put on it in my opinion, makes it worth not running the Rustic Shield version.
I
And I put it in
actually,
D because the tier below D is unplayable, and you can play Zamazenta. Like,
yeah. Because the one thing about this, because I was looking at it when I was putting this all into Showdown, and I was like, wait a second, looking at this, we have the Rusted Shield, which is steel fighting. So therefore, we got now a ground type weakness if we're going against Groudon. I
yep.
am slower than I used to be. Yeah, my defenses are also lower. Yes, granted.
Yes.
However, I'm like, if you get somebody else, because when you do come in, you will still have your ability. So your defense is going by +1. So then, if you have somebody else come in and do a coaching on top of that, and then you start running some like offensive moves, then what is really going to stop you? Like, and the body press is still
But
going
is
to do really good damage.
But is the offensive Zamazenta worth losing the 20 extra points in defense and the 20 extra point? No, it's not even 20. The 25 extra points in defense and 25 extra points special defense. Like, I
Depends.
don't, I don't
I think it
really
actually
know if
depends.
that's worth it.
As only if you have somebody. Let me see who. I would not say. I wouldn't say like You know who I'm thinking about actually.
But here's the thing: while you're trying to
Valid.
find your coaching partner, why couldn't they just coach the crown version? Why do I have to? What benefit does it get from not being it? I don't see an item that's worth losing that much defense over if you're just going to go for the coaching strategy anyways.
Well, that wouldn't be more like an anyway type of thing. It'll be more like an alternate. It'll be like, let's say, if you wanted to go keep the body press, because obviously, I mean, it's also stab. So
Yeah.
right there with somebody else coaching or anything, you can boost it up so you can take out an Incineroar. You're not even worried about anything of that sort. So all that's like said and done. But now, I wonder.
I'm just saying what you said so far has the other one can do, but it has better defenses, meaning its body press is even better.
I was seeing.
So I don't see what the benefit of that is.
I was double checking, seeing if it had any ground type coverage or whatnot. What I want to do, and which is something that we could look into whenever we actually try to build a team utilizing this form. Yeah. But basically, the fact that this one no longer has a fire weakness, I think that's where it's good, or pretty good rather. But
I would say that's what its niche is, yeah. But I wouldn't call it good if you're losing 40 overall defensive points, or you're going from 140 to 115.
Yeah,
in both of them, like I would rather just have 2 typing than have that, and I can tear out of my weakness if I need to.
And very true, very very true. This is just something to actually start thinking about. Whenever that plan comes in. Oh wait, didn't I go against somebody that had? Did they? No, I could have sworn I went against somebody that had Zen Headbutt. Man, shoot, forget it. I'm just gonna do Terra Loss. Make this thing like what? Give me a Terra. Freaking give me Terra Fairy or something. I don't know, or Terra Ground. I don't know.
When you
give me
get
something.
through playing with the Terra Blast on that thing, you can go ahead and make sure you put it down in D tier where it belongs.
It's already there.
Okay.
Oh, that would be so much fun. Oh,
I'm gonna have fun playing with it. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but it's just inferior to the other version in every way, shape, and form.
Right.
Because anything it can do, the other one can do. It just has a ground and fire weakness. But oh well, I have more defense and special defense.
Right.
I'm good.
And anybody wants to do, if they want to go for their like extreme speeds or anything, just try to outspeed you at that point. The unshielded form is going to be more susceptible to that. Even for the Rillabooms, and there's a lot of Rillabooms right now for the terrain war.
Oh yeah.
So that becomes a problem. All right. Next one on the list right now,
Who are you
though.
grabbing that? Oh yeah. Go
Turtle.
ahead and put the turtle right behind the dog. Yep, that's where I got him.
Turtaloo. And I agree, and I can't stand this mon. I can't stand this mon.
What's wrong with the turtle? Turtle's fun.
Turtle is cute and annoying because I'm
It's
constantly
bulky
wondering.
offense is what it is, which are
Yes,
my two favorite things: bulky offense.
what and I honestly, and this is on me, is I think it's a skill issue for me. But my issue has been understanding its Terra Blast attack because, of course, on all the previous times when I've been running with Kali Shadow, I think it's not fair. That's my biggest thing. I think it's just not fair, but it is what it is because it's Terra Stellar or Terra Starstorm
Yep.
attack or whatever before it terrestrializes and whatnot. If I'm remembering correctly, that if I am Kali Shadow, it cannot hit me. But then it terrestrializes, and then it's a
And then
stellar
it
move,
can.
and it can hit me. And I'm like, what the crap? You're still a normal type. It should be based off of your type, and it's still hurting me, and that's annoying. But
I think
yet,
you're forgetting that we're a turtle,
oh no,
and
I am
turtles
not.
get away with things.
No, it's getting away with too much because the fact is, as it terrestrializes into its stellar type, and it can hit me, but yet I still can't hit it. That's a problem. I think that's a huge problem.
Yeah, but like most most of them that I like, right? If you go to back to Showdown, we got leftover Terra Starstorm, Calm Mind, Sub, Protect. So like I'm only using Terra Starstorm.
Yep.
Like that's the only offensive move I'm using. Where's your turtle? There he
Right here.
is. So go
And
to the
see,
leftover one.
yep, I got a
Yeah.
Clover Cloak one and I got a Leftovers one. And they both have that stupid move.
Well,
But
it's the best move for it. But go to the leftover one, and I'll give you my set that I run.
what you got?
So, Calm Mind, Sub, Protect. I am all in on that move you love so much.
Oh my god, I can't stand this mon.
And then my spread is 172 HP, 4 defense, 204 special attack, 12 special defense, and 116 speed, and I am modest. And if you give me a turn to set up a sub, I'm going to sub, calm mind, and just have fun with your team. Because sub protect lefties is great. This Pokemon's already decently bulky. I know the Terra Shell, or I know the move is going to delete the terrain when I do my thing. But I just leave the Rillaboom in the back, and I'll just reset the terrain afterwards and get 2 times the healing per turn while hitting you with this Terra Starstorm. And just loving life as I do it.
Okay. Okay. Now, something to just and in terms of planning purposes, and I get the leftovers, and that may be where you want to stick with it. I would suggest something else that I have seen coming up lately is this with having teammates that can bring you back more health because of Urshifu. So you have it go paired up with like what's that mon called? What is that floral healing? Let me just go ahead and just mark that in, and then floral healing.
Oh,
Comfey.
Comfey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Comfey, and when we got the Sinistra, so either of
I love me some
those,
Sinister.
those two can
Yeah, no,
just bring it back.
Sinistra plus Terapagos is like my favorite go-to right there. I love those two Pokemon beside each other. That is a squad. But one of the reasons that the turtle is in A tier and not S tier is because it does require 1 to 2, even sometimes 3 slots on your team to support and build around it.
Yes.
It just requires like you have to help it out. But if you can help it out, it will win you games.
I agree. I completely agree. Because it just this thing, if I let it get past me, it steamrolls, and it gets on my nerves, and I'm just like, sometimes when it doesn't die, it just doesn't die, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm gonna get mad, and then it heals up, and then start over again. It just can't. But I mean, yeah. So definitely, it is on A tier. And I think that's where we are for that. Next up,
Who you got next?
we got Mewtwo. So,
Mewtwo? Oof. All right. Let's get this rant going. Go ahead and put Mewtwo at the very top of D.
top of
said
D tier. D tier.
It is. Put it at the top of D. That's where it stays.
Okay. What
What does Mewtwo do for you? What does Mewtwo do for you that any other psychic type in this meta can't already do for you?
That
It doesn't
can't
have
do?
anything that makes it better than any other psychic type.
Except for its
Why would you run
wonderful little
Mewtwo
side
and not
strike.
Shadow Rider?
Oh, well,
Why
I
would
mean,
you
in
run
that
Mewtwo
regard,
and not
absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would not. What's this hidden ability?
So
Oh,
why
there.
am I wasting my restricted slot on the worst psychic type restricted Pokemon I have access to?
I really feel as though they should have made this thing a bit more like let it keep. I get that we have power creep and all that stuff, but this thing just it's Mewtwo. It's designed
Without its
to be
megas,
that.
it's not strong enough to compete with the other restricteds.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't have any unique advantages to it. That's the problem. We all love Mewtwo. Gen 1 boys for life, right? But without its megas, it is just inferior to every other psychic restricted that we have access to.
I'm even playing to see if whether or not if we can run something like this.
I mean, cool. You look like you're running Lunala, but just worse.
Well, I mean, the Aura Sphere, and then you got to partner it with somebody, of course, that can. Oh God, no! Wait.
You just replaced the
Can't
Aura
do
Sphere with
extending?
Terra Blast to make my Lunala a fighting type. Like, you're just running a worse Lunala.
And see how I just lost it too. Yeah, because I was trying to keep the side strike because it gives so much, and that runs off of the physical defense at least. So that's good.
Yes.
But then I
You
was
know
like,
what they need to do? They need to give it a different ability. Like, if you want to make Mewtwo relevant
Yeah.
without having... Don't even look at Unnerved.
no,
That's the same
yeah,
crap.
yeah.
Like, we're not... This isn't the Citrus Berry meta anymore. The problem with Mewtwo is it doesn't have anything unique about it that makes it worth running over the other restrictors that we have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Mewtwo isn't cool, because it is. We all love Mewtwo. But I can run Calm Mind Protect on any other... Like, go back to the big list of all of them on the tier maker. Like, look at the bottom.
Sure. Down here.
No, like on the tier maker sheet that you
Here.
we're replacing them. Look at the bottom. Look at the bottom. At the very bottom. We haven't ranked them yet. Look at every psychic type down there and tell me who is worse than Mewtwo at being a psychic type.
Here you go.
That's unplayable. We're not counting. Same with the Nebby forms. You can put them in unplayable.
Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and throw them in there right now.
Go ahead and move them there. But you look at that list and you find a psychic type that is worse than Mewtwo at being a psychic type.
Isn't this?
You could argue Necrozma. But in my opinion,
Maybe.
you're arguing Necrozma is at the bottom of Necrozma's the bottom of D, top of unplayable. That's what it is.
Yeah, because I don't even remember
That's
what
gonna be
regular
the game
Necrozma
right there.
does.
When you make me play as Necrozma online, that's gonna be when we start fighting for our lives.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, let's make sure it's like regular base Necrozma. Let's.
Yep. Yep. That is the one psychic type that Mewtwo is better than.
It pains me,
That's
but I
the
mean,
problem.
but I agree. I do agree.
And I love it. And we're gonna win games with it online because that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play sets with everybody. But there's not a psychic type restricted that's worth playing that's worse than it. We're looking at base Cali and base Necrozma as the things worse than Mewtwo.
That is so bad. That is really bad. But I mean, it is what it is.
Welcome to 2024.
There's just so much power creep. It's the fact that it just got outsped. They should have, if they boosted its stats, like even when they made the big old event when we go against Mewtwo and make it so oppressive and like, oh my gosh, we can't take this thing down. It's because they have so much shields on it, and that's the whole big issue. But if you have Mewtwo outside of it, like, oh, I'm going to use this spot, it was so very difficult to capture, and then it's like, oh, it sucks. Oh, this was a bait.
To be fair, Mewtwo did get its power creep when it got its 2 Mega Evolutions. That's what it needs. It needs its Mega Evolutions to be viable again in the meta that we are in. In the world that we live in with the power creep that the legendaries have, it needs its Megas. That's all it is.
Can we even really say though that I don't even. This will be like a soapbox, a quick thing though, but I don't even know. I don't even remember if Mega Mewtwo X was even good at all. Mega Mewtwo Y, yes.
No, we're looking at Y. We look at Mega Mewtwo Y. That's what we're looking at.
That X, I was like, I caught one specifically for it, and I got a shiny specifically to make it physical, and I still never used it because I was just like, I worked hard for that shiny, and then I was like, and got it. Nope, not even wasting my time. But okay, yeah, we can leave it there.
Or Mewtwo.
Lugia.
That goes in C.
Yeah, I agree.
That goes in C. It is better than Mewtwo, but it is not on the same level as Groudon.
No, Lugia is very responsive of a Pokemon. It is all for multi-scale. I would argue that you probably always want to have it with leftovers, if not always, and running it with Calm Mind. Like, you have to take the time to set up.
No, yeah, it relies heavily on setup. It has to have very good setup. It has to have partners that can keep it around to get it going. But even after you Calm Mind once or twice, and you start critting Arrow Blast, you're still not KOing things.
Yep.
That's the problem with them. You wouldn't have to argue that hard for me to be like, yeah, put it in D. And I love Lugia. Gen 2 is actually my favorite generation. I know everyone hates Gen 2 because of the pacing. The pacing is bad. Get over it.
I love Gen 2. Gen 2 was my favorite gen whatsoever.
But the pacing is bad. We know this. But that's not what we're talking about today. I can go on a 2-hour rant about why Gen 2 is terrible, but it's still my favorite. But Lugia just requires so much help from everyone. You have to have a 5-man team with Lugia being to set it up. Because Lugia cannot help your teammates. Its only good move for your teammates is Tailwind. Yeah. That's it. So it is all about me when I run Lugia.
Yeah, she doesn't even get life due.
Don't look at life due. It doesn't get anything from everybody else. It is selfish.
Nothing. Oh my gosh. It's all about everybody just like supporting it.
If you are running Lugia, the only thing that it can do to help your partners is you can Icy Wind and you can Tailwind. Everything else is about it. And it's not that good on its own. It needs your friends to help you. Now, if you want to find a weird niche for it, you could have it be a bulky Sunny Day Pokemon, but then why not just run Groudon?
Right.
It can run Whirlwind if you need something to switch out, but why are we using a Restricted to be a Whirlwinder? You could use one thing that I do like. Keep what you have going here. Calm Mind, Aeroblast, Tailwind, Weather Bomb. And you put it on a team with Pelipper and Torkoal.
With both
Pelipper. And you give it a medium speed so that in Tailwind it's better than some, but in Trick Room it's better than some. But even then, we're grasping at straws here. Like, Lugia is cool. I like the dude, but it needs the most setup help out of everyone.
You probably don't even need that much speed, really.
No, I mean you could probably put 4 in it. Like if we're going Tailwind, Trick Room, Hybrid, you wouldn't want to put a lot in it anyways.
Yeah. I just want to make sure I'm just outspeeding certain monster. Matter of fact, let me run that calculation real quick. Wait, I think it's what, 208 times
And it's sad too
1.5.
because it gets access to some really good stuff. Like it gets Earth Power, it gets Extrasensory, it gets Hurricane, it gets Hyper Voice, it gets Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, it can even screens, but like it just doesn't do any of its jobs better than what someone else could do.
So if we went 307 divided by 2, 153, so maybe about 154. Can Lugia get to 154? Okay. This, under Tailwind, that's how much you need, is to outspeed Booster Flutter. Booster Speed Flutter. So you need Tailwind in order to outspeed it at that point.
Well, what do you do after you outspeed it?
Die.
You died to one Shadow Ball.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it will still take 2 if you have your multi-scale. But, you know.
If you have, well, they faked you out turn 1. In this perfect world, they faked you out and then Shadow Balled you.
Well, then you're dead. Oh, yeah, because you don't even have Protect on this one. Yeah, that's right.
No, I was this set that you have in front of you isn't a real move set. I was just
No.
trying to find unique ways to run it because it's so cookie cutter standard to just go Calm Mind, Aeroblast, Tailwind, Protect.
Yeah.
And your whole goal is to get as many Calm Minds up as you can as your partner keeps you alive and then try to crit Aeroblast your way to the win. But crit Aeroblast isn't even worth doing. That's the problem.
And see, and I even had you've seen my video when I've actually ran it. It was because of the roulette series, and I had the Lugia and Murkrow on the team. That was not easy to do, but I mean, and that was the whole problem with Lugia is that it just would not like do what I needed it to do effectively with enough damage.
Well, I can tell you when we decided to do our little game with what we're like the teams. I think I know what I'm going to do now. I'm going to give it the Stella Terra. I'm gonna probably give it a Choice Scarf. I'm gonna give it Weather Ball, Hurricane, Thunder, and I'll find another move. Blizzard. Screw it. And we're gonna go max special attack, and we're gonna run every weather there is in the game, and I'm just gonna have this be a button. It's gonna come in and do this one button.
And just have like partner with multiple put like what is it, the Alolan Ninetales, like, Pelipper, and
Alolan
Torkoal.
Ninetales, Torkoal, Pelipper plus it, and then 2 other support Pokemon, so it can turn into 2 support Lugia and then a Weather Setter.
That'll be hilarious.
And is it going to be good? Probably not. But is it going to do its one job well? Sure.
Well, but that's where we got Lugia for right now. Then, so C tiered because it is just so responsive and it does not put out enough damage. So we're good with that. What do we think about Ho-Oh?
That's my favorite Gen 2 bird. And it goes behind Lugia. Maybe right in front of Lugia. It's right. They hold in hands.
I think
it's bulkier. It can burn things. It's a better support Pokemon. I'd put it in front of Lugia, but it's not good. I want it to be good. I love my fire chicken, but it's not.
I think what hurt Ho-Oh the most is the Dex cut, because Charon partnered with that was super good because of that with the sunlight
Charon
ability.
with it was good. And I know I keep bringing up Weather Ball. I sound like I'm a weather fanatic over here, but Ho-Oh can work on rain teams with Weather Ball. Like if you run a bulky Ho-Oh with Tailwind, Will-O-Wisp, Weather Ball, Sacred Fire, like that's pretty cool.
It actually runs.
I'm liking it.
Does it have a special attack for that? Oh my god, it does. Well, but what do you sacrifice? I don't just
pull these things out of my butt. I got you, buddy. Like,
but what kind of nature do you run it as?
I mean, if you could give it a negative nature if you wanted to. If you want to, but I mean, Sirius is fine. You can make it a mixed attacker. It's not the greatest mixed attacker. But
Ugh. Yeah, that's where I
Weather
have the
Ball,
hard part.
Sacred Fire, Willow, Tailwind, because you're running it as a support Pokemon anyways.
Yeah,
In
and
that instance, like Sacred Fire is just for damage, but really you're just trying to have a bulky Tailwind setter. And then if you set the rain up, cool, I have Weather Ball. If the
mhm.
rain ain't set up, cool, I'll just spam Sacred Fire fishing for burns if I don't feel like I want a Will-O-Wisp to guarantee it. Like
Okay.
it's fun. It can do things.
Yeah, and I mean, I do actually really like Ho-Oh. It definitely does much better in double restricted, but
Yes,
it's
so much better.
the fact that it can miss, but so can Aeroblast, but it has a higher
Yes.
percentage chance of causing a burn, which cripples a lot more of the opponents than that of Logia's high crit Aeroblast. So that's
So
where I would say Ho-Oh's above that of Lugia.
let me tell you what's the worst part about Ho-Oh. This is what makes me mad. If they flipped its special attack and physical attack, it would be such a good mod. Look, we get access to Air Slash, Ancient Power, Earth Power, Extra Sentry, Fire Blast, Flamethrower, Giga Drain, Heat
Hmm.
Wave, Hurricane, Hyper Voice, Overheat, Psychic, like what Shadow Ball, Scorching Sand. Why Thunderbolt? Why are you a physical attacker?
Back in the day when playing Gen 2, like on Pokemon Stadium, and I
It didn't
remember when I
matter
would go
back in the
against it.
day. It didn't matter.
Oh no, I'm just even saying like when I would go against it, like in Pokemon Stadium 2, and that it was one of the, it was that enemy rivals top three. He had Mewtwo, Lugia, and Ho-Oh. And when you faced up against the Ho-Oh, it ran special attacks, and I was like, "What the crap is going on
I
here?"
mean, it even gets Calm Mind. Like
Uh huh.
he wants to be a special attacker so bad,
I think it's because it also has that high special
but
defense, though. This thing is just so
it
bulky.
does. It does have a high special defense, which is why I like it as a support Pokemon. Like I love it. This it's so counterintuitive, but I love it on rain teams that don't need the legendary for the rain part.
Hmm.
It gets Helping Hand too. Like I don't know why you want to be Helping Hand, but you could. Like you could have Helping Hand, Tailwind, just Will-O-Wisp, deal with Big Bird problem. Like
Yo, can you
mind
imagine?
you, if you're using that, but that's why Ho-Oh is so low. If we're over here talking about it can run Helping Hand and it's you're restricted, I
Yes,
mean that's
that's a big
everything you
problem.
know.
That's a
It can
huge
also learn
problem.
Rain Dance, just so you know. In
That I
life,
knew. That I knew it could learn the rain dance, but I like it's like why? But look, man, you can make this thing super
why not?
special defensive, but
I mean, you
eh,
could give it Imprison. I don't know what you would do with it. Like it just it's disappointing, is what it is.
and so slow without
Stop trying to make
that.
stop trying to make my weather set. Leave it alone.
Just trying to say like, okay, how can I face off against these? Oh, it's going to be covert cloak. I'm already going to be making a plan for this or something. Nah, but I don't know. But no, yeah, but C tier, definitely better than Lugia.
So while we're in C tier, let me go ahead and give you the Pokemon that I have towards the top of my C tier. Go ahead
Yeah.
and bring up my boy Rayquaza.
Oh, you got it in C.
I got it.
Yeah,
I got it in C.
I agree. I actually agree with that because
I got it, but when I say C, it's the very top of C. If you pulled my arm, I would put it in B, but it's the top of C.
I would not put it in anything higher because it is not doing anything that Dragonite doesn't do.
Yes, this is true.
It has, yeah, the extreme speeds. It's just, yeah, you can get boosted. It, yeah, I mean, yeah, you got Dragon Ascent, but then at the cost of your defense.
So
If I can
the
spell
set that
correctly.
I like, the set that I like is Clear Amulet, Dragon Ascent, Extreme Speed, Swords Dance, Protect, Terra Normal. You're just another Dragon Knight. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I say you're just another Dragon Knight, we're talking you run it with Chin Pao, Iron Hands,
Mm-hmm.
Mouse Hold, Tornadus, Goldango. Like we're talking that kind of. You're just a better Dragon Knight and better the stretch because you have other abilities. Like,
Where's my
is Airlock worth losing inner focus for?
right?
Eh, maybe.
Does it get? Oh, get scale shot. Huh?
I think it does.
Yeah.
I mean, one good thing about Rayquaza, like let's take the negatives aside. When I say you're just a better Dragonite, you do have you do have better attack. So like your
Yeah.
Terra normal extreme speeds are hitting harder. Like I get that.
Mm-hmm. But once they
So
swap in a Farigiraf, if they swap it in on your important extreme speed turn, you're screwed.
oh yeah,
But
and
if you keep going for your
your
Dragon
Dragon
Ascent,
Ascent is a your Dragon Ascent is a delete button. Like you're gonna use it once and then you're also gonna die.
yes, and that's
But
the issue.
252 Jolly Dragon Ascent should one shot Amoonguss.
Oh God,
Should.
yes,
I'm trying to remember.
because it's a
I'm
flying
thinking
move
like
anyway.
this. I'm trying to think if it's max defense. Just
But
it should delete every Amoonguss in front of you.
you mean unless the
So
Amoonguss terrestrializes, that's probably the only way that it doesn't. Because
I would
it's
like to see what this Dragon Ascent does to Rillaboom. Because if it can one shot Rillaboom, that right there is worth having that over Dragonite, in my opinion.
it will. It'll
And
one shot it.
Ogerpon. Can it one shot Ogerpon?
Yes, Ogerpon is less defensive than Rillaboom, and I know for a fact Dragon Descent will one shot that of a Rillaboom.
Well, there's your three reasons why you run Rayquaza instead of Dragonite. Is it one shots those?
Bah. Dragonite will just Terra. If you go Terra Flying and just go Terra Blast, it 90% of the time takes most of those out as well. Granted, no, Rayquaza is still not even faster than Ogerpon. So even if you want to go for your Dragon Ascent, you are like almost trapped in doing extreme speed instead, because if you've already burned your Terra, you have to go for the extreme speed because the Ogerpon will go faster than you and take you out.
I'm trying to find my notes for who I would want to do next. Because I mean, I think like how Koraidon was our tier breaker for A to B, Rayquaza to me is the tier breaker from B to C. So who would you think is better than Rayquaza?
Better than Rayquaza.
Better. Yep. Who are you putting that's better than Rayquaza? Because to me that's the tier break. Like
I'm
I
going
think we're
with
missing a Pokemon from.
I'm going with Lunala.
Yeah, I have Lunala right behind Groudon in mine as well.
Yeah.
And we'll do Lunala, and then I'll tell you my next one that I have for A tier because we're missing one for A tier, in my opinion. But I do think Lunala is kind of, how do I say it? It doesn't have a lot of different sets. It's gonna be the same Lunala. It's very cookie cutter. There we go. Your Moonblast, your Moongeist, your Combine, your Protect, your Leftovers, your Shadow Shield. Like you're.
There's one other set for it though.
I mean, you're just Lunala. Like I mean, I don't know.
The other one that I always wonder about, especially on closed team sheet, is of course going to be Power Herb.
Yeah, I mean, but closed team sheet,
Closed
every
team
Pokemon
sheet?
can do something crazy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about these as open team sheet because closed team sheet, sorry, is a whole other can of worms. Like if you have Power Herb, cool. So you're gonna run that Meteor move, whatever it's called, Meteor Beam,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. Don't get me wrong. I think that's also Power Herb, Meteor Beam, Follow Me can be used just fine. Like
Mm-hmm.
I
And
wouldn't be mad at either step.
And see, and I go into most tournaments or even like online. I go into those, even though it's closed team sheet, with the expectation that it is going to do this, and I've been most of the time correct. It's because it is the one. It's like I have the mindset rather that I go into these matches with the idea that my opponent is running what's going to give me the most trouble. And then when I find out, I'm like, oh, you're not doing that? Oh, okay, I can handle you. But whenever they're like, oh, yeah, I'm about to meteor beam your face, I'm like, okay, I have to protect first turn. But that's where, if you see them with this automatically, which gives it the ultimate offensive pressure. And either Urshifu. Once you have these leading together, you're like, okay, I protect. Oh, wait, hold on. We got this staring me down. What do I do?
Oh yeah, but that's impressive. That is very impressive. Now let me flip it for you. Pull up a blank Lunala. So that'd be like if you're trying to be real oppressive, real offensive focused.
Uh-huh.
The one that I've been using, leftovers, Shadow Shield, obviously. Moongeist Beam, Moonblast, Calm Mind, Protect. And unless they have an answer for it, 'cause you can't fake me out.
Uh-huh.
And we're gonna with Regulation G, we're kind of moving out of the haze meta. Like people don't really run it in G.
Mm-hmm.
Calm Mind, last move, Calm Mind.
Oh, we got Calm Mind, which was the last
Oh, you
one?
have Calm Mind. Moonblast. I'm sorry.
I think I went against this one just, I think yesterday or day before.
Go 228 HP. Go 52 defense. 180 special attack, 4 special defense, 44 speed. And now that I'm looking at it, and it's modest. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm upset now because it's your basic showdown recommended spread. But this spread works. Like sometimes being basic is okay. Your turn 1, you can't be faked out. I'm going to Calm Mind turn 1 and live because of Shadow Shield.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to protect and get health back from leftovers. And then you have to survive whatever I want to do the rest of the game now that I am bulky and have damage because of the Calm Mind.
Yep. Because I actually went against one just the other day, and they were, and I think it was like closed team sheet or something of the sort. And it was constant of them swapping out, but the Lunala just sitting there, and they kept swapping in other teammates to just help keep giving it more health back, and then it just would just sit, and I was just like, what the crap? But I finally got rid of it, but God, it was annoying.
You partner this bad boy up with Indeedee and Sinistcha, and it's staying forever.
Yep. So that's good. Yep. But yeah, so I definitely do. I will have it. Yeah, I definitely agree for it to be in the B tier.
Why have you not put the whale at the end of A tier? Go ahead and grab Kyogre and put him at A tier. He's at the very bottom of it, but put him in A tier.
Bottom of A. Yeah, I agree. Actually, I agree. It was a hard role for me of having it here, if not here.
No,
it just depends on how much.
It's so much better than everything else we have in B tier so far. Like, you can run it the AV set. You can run it the bulky 3 attack set. You can run it the Choice Scarf delete button set. Like it. If you see Kyogre, let's pretend we are closed team sheet and not open. If you see Kyogre and you don't respect Choice Scarf, Water Spout on the opening turn, you lose. Period. That's it. Congratulations. Like that has to be an answer.
Yeah, and the one thing I have of a challenge with it is that if you now that I see Kyogre at any point, I always think Rilla U-turn.
Yep.
Because I expect you to terrestrialize, and Once you do, I'm going, yeah, I'll take a lot of damage, but once I U-turn you, then you're done. You have to swap out, and then I'm going to attack your slot, just thinking that you're going to swap out, but and that's going to cause more damage on somebody else. I, I think it's a difficult toss up. Honestly, because I feel as though it's more so going towards the B tier.
But I'm saying that it's the end of A tier. I think it's better. I think it's better than Koraidon. I think it's better than Groudon. I think it's better than Lunala.
I agree. I definitely believe it's better than Groudon, better than Lunala. I don't think it's better than Koraidon.
I do. Like, what is Koraidon? What makes Koraidon better than Kyogre?
The fact,
Because
oh,
the AV set on Kyogre is, in my opinion, better than most sets for Koraidon. Then you have the Mystic Water attack set that allows you to play around if you want to. But then my favorite set is the Choice Scarf one, because it's just a I start the game, respect this, or get deleted button.
so here's my exact reason why. Actually, now when making me think about this, the same issue that one of the same issues that we had with Koraidon, and I'm just thinking of a tiering matchup. You're probably not going to have an additional water setter, but rain setter, but you might have Pelipper on the same team with your Kyogre, but typically not. So if you put Kyogre versus Koraidon, your Koraidon, and let's say you got all your pieces still in play, even if Koraidon does not have the rain, does not have the sun, rather, and even if you somehow already burned through your terrestrialization, your Terra Fire already, if you have somebody next to the Koraidon, which you typically will, that will have Wide Guard, let it be Mienshao, or let it be, let's say you, for some reason, you put Pelipper on the same team. I highly doubt it, but let's just say you did. The Kyogre is required of Origin Pulse, or Muddy Water, or Water Spout, while Koraidon can still Collision Course with no drawback.
So, argument to why Kyogre is better than Koraidon. When you sit down to build your team for a regional that involves the restricteds, you sit down and come up with a plan for Kyogre. You don't necessarily sit down and come up with a plan for Koraidon.
Oh, I do. I see more Koraidon doing well than Kyogre.
What I mean is, like, the Koraidon, and it sounds weird because Kyogre can deal a ton of damage without the weather. The weather just helps it. Groudon needs the weather. Koraidon is a weather setter, if that makes sense. Like, I don't consider
he doesn't
Kyogre
need the
to
weather.
be a weather setter. Yes, it sets the weather, but I don't need it to.
Right.
Koraidon, you build a team around it setting the weather. So just by that alone, Kyogre in the back turns off your weather. If I'm AV, I'm ice beaming you. Congratulations, I win. If I'm Mystic Water, I mean, I can still Hydro Pump and chunk you if you have Wide Guard.
But here's my other issue, because this is where, because Koraidon's faster than Kyogre, right? Yes. And just looking at the abilities. Well, yeah. Well, but I'm glad you're saying that, though, because now if you end up being Choice Scarf, right? Let's look at this, and whether it be open team sheet or not. But if you got Koraidon, who sets the sun boosts Pokemon of the photosynthesis. Who is the biggest challenge for Kyogre?
For Kyogre, it depends on the set. I know I was joking when I run my Choice Scarf set, but it depends on the set. Like a Raging Bolt and Rillaboom are the two big ones right there.
But you see now with Raging Bolt is like the one that forces the Kyogre to terrestrialize, and if you terrestrialize, you into grass, Koraidon got you. It's faster.
Now, we can play the X and O games. We can always find a Pokemon to beat the other team's Pokemon.
Well, yeah.
But I will tell you that my Choice Scarf set, I'll pair it with Indeedee to stop priority from Raging Bolt and Rillaboom.
Okay. Okay.
So, and when I see that my opponent has Raging Bolt and Rillaboom, I will usually lead Kyogre and have Indeedee in the back, and then turn one switch Indeedee in and Ice Beam. That has gotten me lots of forfeits online.
I wonder how much fun that would actually be, and just in comparing how these teams would go. But
Yeah,
but just looking at the fact of the on raw damage, yes, Koraidon's typically going to be Amulet Coin. Typically that. You have a lot more
they
options.
both require speed. They both need speed control one way or the other. That's a given for both of them.
Right.
Like you just said, damage output, Drizzle Water Spout changes the game. If you don't have an answer for it, that right there changes the game. Koraidon has what, one, maybe two builds. Kyogre, we have three off the top of our head.
And
They both set the weather. I just think that Kyogre is just better. It does everything that Koraidon wants to do, but just slightly better. Plus, in my opinion, water is a very good typing.
Water's not with, and this is specifically for this format. This is where I think becomes the issue for this particular format, and this is the highest reason. Yeah, this is the highest reason why I will say it would have to go down. Both Koraidon.
I mean, Koraidon is the only thing I'm worried about if I'm running Kyogre. And we can get around that with Lightning Rod users, Follow Me users. Like, I know it has Discharge, but now I'm locking you into Discharge.
Well,
if I wanted to be that guy, I can Terra into something, and I have Thunder in your electric terrain.
You will have the Thunder, but once the Koraidon just swaps out on you, it's going to do a ton of damage, and then that's where your Water Spout is no longer doing anything impressive. Because
I've noticed why I have Lightning Rod or Follow Me. Like, well, that's why Kyogre is an A. That's why Kyogre is an A and not S. It needs another Pokemon to help it. The S tiers don't need that much help. The A tiers need a little bit more help.
Right.
It needs a little bit more help. You know, pair Kyogre with a Follow Me user, and now I'm forcing your Miraidon to use Discharge if it wants to hit me.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that, and it just needs more support, just the same way as the Terapagos needs more support. I feel as though that Kyogre operates just along the lines of equality. Equality, is that even a word? As Koraidon, we could even say maybe going a better. Yeah, well, so we can say I can agree with that.
That's why I had it at the end of A. In my opinion, Koraidon is the B tier setter. If you're better than Koraidon, you're A tier. Koraidon is the top of B tier. Like, you have to be better than Koraidon to be in A tier. And I think Kyogre meets that standard. But if you want to put it at the top of B and move the other ones down, I'm fine with it. I'm not going to get mad about it.
Yeah, because I don't think that Kyogre has that same as it, like, even though Terapagos is in A tier, every time I see it I'm like crap.
Yeah.
But Kyogre, I'm like, oh, okay. Groudon,
yeah, but I'm more scared of Kyogre than Koraidon.
I'm actually not. Well, maybe I might be. They both give like me the same vibe for B tier, but from that.
And I think really, I'm beating a dead horse here, but I really think it's just because Drizzle Water Spout changes the game. Like, If your opponent is not in the right scenario and you click it and you hit it, that changes the whole course of the rest of the game.
Oh yes, absolutely. It definitely will. That will. I won't lie about that. It definitely will.
And
It just
having that kind
varies.
of a button, it's almost like a mini astral barrage. Like it's just that's why it was at the bottom of A for me. It's just it has the ability that if you let it get off what it wants to do, it changes the game from then on out.
It's just though, and
But if you want to leave it top of B,
yeah,
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm fine with it being
yeah.
top of B as long as there's nothing between it and the turtle.
Nothing between it and the turtle, which I don't think. Oh wait, hold on. We gotta put this guy right
No.
right there.
No. Go ahead and drag that bad boy down.
All right, so well,
He is
what do
he
we
is better than Mewtwo.
what do we talk about the guillotine force? Like even when I was doing it in the builder, I was like, Giratina, where? I there's the stat breakdown is different. One's more physically offensive, while the other one's more bulky defensive. But it's like it's just the inverse. But then I'm like,
Yeah, but you
Do
gain
we-
levitate.
yeah, this one it requires the Grish's orb, Grish's core rather, but
Yep.
has a bit more damage output in that regard. So even though it gets a boost plus more of a boost, but at the same time, you're like, you're giving up your item. Versus here, you can go telepathy, and okay, well this is a little ugly. I just gotta fix this. There we go. Let's fix these shinies. There we did so much better. Where do we think these go? Do we believe they go in the same bracket as each other, or do they go separate from one another?
They go in the same bracket with each other, and the origin form is better than the non-origin form, and they both go in D tier. They're above Mewtwo, and if you really wanted to, you could put the cool looking one above or in the bottom of C, but I don't think so. I think they are both D tier Pokemon, and I think sandwiching Mewtwo is fine. I think the non-cool looking one is worse than Mewtwo, but I think the cool looking one is better than Mewtwo. I think where
Yeah.
you have them is just fine.
Yeah, I agree.
And the origin one is only above because it gets an extra damage boost without taking chip damage from a life orb or being forced into locked into one move with a choice band. But it's still there are better ghost types to use and there are better dragon types to use. It's just not good enough to do it on its own, which is
I agree.
sad, but it is what it is.
I completely agree. If it had more speed, like going up to that of like closer to towards Dragapult, and then work with somebody else doing coaching for it, then by all means I'll be like, yeah, let's go. But that drawback
Yeah,
of
but then
being
we're
so
playing
slow,
the same game we were with Lugia, where it needs 5 other Pokemon to help it be a real Pokemon.
yeah, and I definitely agree that that's its ultimate drawback. It just messes it up. Okay. What did we think about Nen in terms of the Dialga forms? Because same situation, they did all these multiple forms for them. One is
Okay.
gaining more stats. I forget.
Are we doing
Let's do Dialga.
Algia or Dialga first?
We'll do Dialga first.
Dialga? Okay.
I think it's the same
Okay.
speed, right? I can't remember. Yeah, they're the same speed. Just one is this one. I think automatically this one. Oh, that's right, because it loses the. This one's required to have the item. I forgot. The origin form requires the item.
Don't both of them they both have more stats than their other form, right?
In terms of total, no. They all just have.
No, they're just better. They're better spreads.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what it is. They're better spreads. So just by them being better spreads, the origin forms should probably be ranked higher than the non-origin forms, right?
In a sense, however, if we think about defensive wise, how often Dialga, for example, is going to be on a trick room set because the origin form, you can't have an item. So if you're going to be more of a trick room setter, you may want telepathy because you're running next to, like, let's say an earthquake user or something like that. And if you're running the trick room plus what's the defensive item? I mean, sometimes you can run assault vest, but you can't use trick room if you're doing assault vest because if you do that, now you will not die from any special attack.
Yeah.
You just won't have as much of an output there. But what is it? You could even go Rocky Helmet, and especially for all the Urshifus, and then you're just like, okay, your special defense is already really high, defense is high, starting to get hit with those moves. It varies. It really just varies. Granted, here you can't get knocked off because this is a form changing item, so you don't have to worry about losing your items. So that's where I am at a bit of a toss up when it comes to these particular Pokemon because I don't know if we should make them different or not.
So I would rank them different, and I'm probably putting the origin forms. I like that the origin forms, the item gives them a boost because their stats are already pretty decent as it is. Like,
They're more optimized
yeah,
in terms of Dialga. I can already say this immediately that this one, Palkia, this one's better. The origin form
yeah. No,
because it's faster.
I have that. I have the Palkia base form on my list in C, and the other Palkia form towards the beginning. Like one's at the end of C and one's towards the beginning of C.
Okay, so we're
If that
probably
makes
like this
sense.
here, like that. Oh,
Yeah, but you can put that Palkia higher than that Lugia and the Ho-Oh. Well, maybe not the Ho-Oh. Yeah, the Ho-Oh. Yeah, I'd put it higher.
yeah, we can run because
Eh,
with the telepathy,
maybe.
we got gravity, spatial rend. I mean, I'd probably put it there.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with the way that looks.
yeah,
And I think the Dialgas are worse than the Palkias.
yeah. Dialga, that one's a bit more difficult for me. Because
I mean, I would rather just run Arcaludon than it.
you know, and
That's
yeah,
my problem. Is like I can find a non-restricted that I like that does the same thing it does, or the same typing and role.
hold on. I don't know why that automatic. Sometimes Showdown automatically drops these things to zero. I want to make sure they're all equal. But 120, which should go down. Because yeah, this one is 140. It's wasted 20 points in attack. They're both 140 defense, both 140s. But this one is now more special defense. And with this one, you can run protect. Versus this one, if you do assault vest, you lose protect, and you can get knocked off. But they both have really good special attack. Special attack 170 uninvested, not even boosted nature. I mean, that's really good. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't. I think they are also in the same C tier as their Palkia friends, but I don't think they're as good as the Palkia friends. Like I would put the fancy Dialga behind the Ho-Oh
Ho-Oh.
and the non-fancy one behind the Palkia. I think that looks right to me.
Yeah.
And you could argue to flip the forms, like maybe having a different item is worth losing the damage output. Like leftover seems pretty good, and AV seems really good on them too.
Right.
That's my problem. Is that they? You know what? I changed my mind. I want Ho-Oh in front of all of them.
Ho ahead of all of them.
Ho-Oh is a bulky tailwind setter. Can be. I think bulky tailwind setter, Sacred Fire, Will-O-Wisp just makes it better than those other ones.
Okay. I'm cool with that because yeah, this one's harder. This one's very difficult to just try to form together.
Yes.
So I'm cool with that.
But I mean, that's how C tier is going to end up. Like a lot of things are going to end up that way.
Yeah. Reshiram. That's our next mon. What we got?
Reshiram. Reshiram is probably worse than the Palkia brothers, but better than Lugia. And the more times I say better than Lugia, the more I want to drop Lugia down to D, but I don't want to. But I think Reshiram is better than Lugia for sure.
Let me check. Let me fix this. Put this thing back down. Level 50. I don't know why it's not. Yeah, except for R.G.T. I don't know why it's not level 50. Very good special attack once again. It already naturally has some really good bulk.
Dragon Fire is a decent typing.
So use after fusion bolt this turn.
There's really two sets for it, right? So one of them is a scope lens, and one of them is a razor claw. I think the scope lens version is safer, but the razor claw version is funnier. And when I say funnier, funner, not funnier, funner. So razor claw, and you're just 252 special attack, 4 defense, and 252 speed, timid nature. Your fusion flare, your Draco meteor, your earth power, your protect. And if you crit with any of those, you're deleting whatever you want.
But okay, but question me if I'm like losing my brain, but aren't those items like the same thing?
Razor claw and scope lens are the same.
Okay. Oh, you just put those items on.
But my scope, I put two different items because my scope lens, I did that to separate them out.
Oh, okay. Like
okay. These are both of these Reshirams are stolen sets from Japanese teams.
Okay.
And to just keep them separate because their EV spreads are way different. I keep different items on them.
Gotcha.
So the scope lens one is a fairy type with 252 HP, 12 defense. It's a weird spread. I'll wait. 252, 12, 156 special attack, 60 special defense, and 28 speed. And it's a modest nature. And it's protect, heat wave, Draco meteor, and blue flare. And really, we are fishing for crits. Because its moves are super strong and its special attack is really high. And if we can hit a crit, we got it. But we have to get one. Otherwise, Reshiram is just kind of there.
I think it's decent. I do think it's decent.
Yeah, it needs a tailwind setter to help it. Like it's better than Lugia.
I would say it's actually better than Dialga. Base form.
The more I look at this, go ahead and drop it there. The more I look at this, I think I want to flip Palkia and Origin Palkia. I think regular Palkia might be better because I think it needs a different item.
What do you think it needs? Because it is losing its some stats at that point.
I know. I just don't feel like the stats are worth it to it.
Because it is going to be faster at a base of 120.
Yeah, but do we care? Do we care about being faster? Like, we're Lugia or we're Palkia. I want to be bulky. I want to be big bulky. I think AV might be worth it.
On Palkia? Because I know, like, for, like, this bulky one typically would run, like, Trick Room on its own. So...
That's good, too.
But that's on
So I
that
don't
form.
know. The idea being, I think the item free up might be worth it.
Because this one, though, the fact that it's running the spatial rend and it has that high critical hit ratio, plus you got... What is its water attack? Or is that water? No, that's not water. I think it gets muddy water. Does it? It does not. Oh, please don't tell me they still left this thing with only knowing Hydro Pump. If they
Yeah,
did...
no, that's a hydro pump user right there.
Oh my god, no. And I'm not even looking at liquidation. Screw that.
I mean, you could always Terra Blast.
Surf. We
That
got
hits your
surf.
partner.
Well, you'd have to structure your team specifically for it.
I didn't mean to derail us back to Palkia. I just, when I look at the tier, I think it might be better. I don't know.
It's hard to say. I think they run so different than each other. I think it's easier to pilot this one than it is for this one.
I'm just nitpicking at that point. When I saw the Reshiram, it made me look back at the Palkia Dialga. So
I'll say, yeah. Well, I mean, I say we can still structure it here. Reshiram, I think, is probably lower than the Palkias. We'll keep it there. But Zekrom, however, when we have Raging Bolt as well as Miraidon, where does this boy go? Who is a physical fighter, though. He's obviously not going to be B tier. Is he C? I believe he gets Dragon Dance. Or is he D?
I'm going to say something controversial here.
Are you about to tell me B? Are you about to tell me B? What are you about to say? What's the controversial? Go ahead.
It's worse than Lugia.
No! Well, it might be. Oh, it might be. Hold on. Like, I think he gets Dragon Dance.
It's worse than Lugia. Let me ask you a question before you even look at any abilities or any stats it gets.
Okay.
Why would you ever run Zekrom when Miraidon exists?
Only if I'm running one of these two already.
Then you can't run it.
Oh wait.
We're in a single
that's right.
format.
That's right.
You know,
Well, listen.
it might be worse than Giratina. The cool one, not the bad one. It's better than Mewtwo.
Like, I could have sworn I used to use this mon more effectively, like, back in the day. But now it's like... back then, I don't even think it got Dragon Dance. But... Spoiler alert, now that I'm even really looking at these fusion moves, whenever we get double restricted, I am going to run these two together, like either both Zekrom or Kyurem or whichever one, and I'm going to run these moves just to see how much damage I can put out, just to say, but that's going to be, I guess, months down the road. But,
Oh, yeah.
Fusion Bolt, the Terravolt is beautiful to go in against anybody's, like, multi-scale or anything of the sort.
True. That would be like your only argument for using it is its ability, but I mean, Mold Breaker exists on other Pokemon. I don't know. It's just I don't feel like it is good enough to not be at the bottom of C, maybe the top of D. I think it belongs. It's above Mewtwo, but worse than Lugia, and that's what I'll stick to. You can keep digging.
Okay. Hear me out. Okay, no, I can't do it with that. Okay. Oh, but I need the speed. Okay, hold on. Do you get what is that move again? Scale shot. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Partner this with coaching. I'm not saying that. I'm like, if you're like really using Zekrom, really just like, oh, I really want to use a Smon. Okay. Then partner it with coaching. Have that dual wing beat. Well, have a scale shot to get your speed up, especially since you're going to be losing your defenses with that. Go ahead and give it the loading dice. And then Terra Flying to go against the grass types. That's my only way of how to make this guy work.
Does it get any other multi-hit move?
No, no.
So we're Scale Shot Zekrom.
Scale Shot, dual wing beat with fusion bolts. I mean, you got to have your stab special move, or physical rather. But
I guess. I mean, it's a thing that exists.
Yeah. I don't know how to do maybe a stat breakdown on this guy, but I mean, if you're going to be getting boosts on your speed after a while,
I mean, I think if you hit 135, base speed is pretty good for it.
370, 210, still won't be faster than. I always think about when I can outpace Callie.
Yeah.
But since it's just not gonna work, well, that's juicy. 5, 6, 7. Okay, there's the bump. So let's go to the second bump. 76. So plus 80. So it's 156. Should take us to the next bump. Okay, and that's 209. Odd number. So if we're gonna maximize the effect of the coaching, you want to go to 210, get a nice even number there. Yeah, that's taking it back down.
We're dealing with Zekrom here. Let's calm down. Like,
I mean, it might be a thing,
We'll see. We'll see. It's gonna be a long time before we get to that game, but we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, you know what? Once again, to maximize the effect of coaching. Boom. There we go.
Okay.
This thing was gonna die though against a Cali Ice. Just saying.
Oh yeah. No, it's dead. It's been dead, Jim.
But it might be a thing. It might be a thing. So, but I mean, Zekrom.
What you got next?
Do we think here? Yeah, we
it's better than Mewtwo.
Yeah. All right. Now we got the Kyurem forms.
Okay.
So first off, I'll say we're gonna put this Kyurem top of here. If it will move, there we
you
go.
can. I think. Hang on. I think that Kyurem's probably better than Necrozma.
Oh, it might be actually, because we can get some good blizzards off of that thing.
I think it's better than Necrozma. I think it paired with Alolan Ninetales and Alolan Sandslash on a full ice team, pretty good compared to Necrozma. Let's manage our expectations here, okay?
Base 150. Oh, that's 140. Oh God! I did not. Whoa! I didn't realize it was that high. Okay.
Yeah. No, Kyurem White is up on the tier list for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Kyurem Black is not so much up on the tier list.
Can it get Dragon Dance? It gets Dragon Dance.
Yeah, it can dance like a dragon. But what's its stab physical ice move that you want to use?
It can
and
miss.
When you find it, tell me why it's better than Kyurem White Blizzard.
Oh no, it's not. But I mean, wait, where's Icicle? It can't learn Icicle Crash?
You didn't type in just type in ice because I think it gets Avalanche.
Oh, but that always goes last. I would never use that move. I would never use Avalanche. Cliche, sure.
Free shot.
Free shot.
Charges 1 turn. You can you could power herb free shot. Or you could Ice Fang.
They need to update this move and say it can attack in 1 turn in the snow. That's what they need, because there's no way. Like,
and that's why, you ready for this? That's why Kyurem base form is just above Necrozma. Kyurem Black is probably the top of D, and Kyurem White is in that C tier.
I say Kyurem White's about.
I think Kyurem White is better than Ho-Oh.
Yeah, I agree.
That special attack stat is unreal.
It's super excessive. I didn't even realize it was that high.
Yeah, I think that Kyurem is just above Lugia.
This Kyurem? You want to put it up here?
Yep. I think it's above Lugia. I do. Lugia is trash. And I hate to say that because I love my 2 Gen 2 bird, but Lugia is bad.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we already put the other Kyurem.
Yeah.
I think that Kyurem might be better.
I think this one's higher
no.
than Dialga.
I wouldn't argue that. That's fine.
Yeah. Because this one has wasted attack stats of potential.
I just realized we talked about the shield dog and not the sword dog.
Oh, I know. He's coming up. Or she, rather.
Okay.
It is a she. Matter of fact, we can go in.
It's a dog. Where are we putting the dog?
Because of the nerf, that's the big problem.
Mm-hmm.
And the prevalence of Incineroar for this format.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say Puppy Dog.
Yep. That's where I have it.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope. Yep.
Yeah, because it's not going to be beating the... It's not beating that.
I put it right behind Lunala.
Yeah.
I say it's better than Rayquaza, but it's not better than Lunala in this meta because of Intimidate and Burn being as prevalent as they are.
Mm-hmm. The speed,
that's exactly.
It has amazing speed and everything, but it's just you still can't outpace the boosters. And then once the boosters get in their speed control, slow you down, and then your mom is just like, Puppy Dog is in trouble.
Yep.
So
that's exactly how it. And it is not that it doesn't have a lot of variation in its move pool either, and it needs a lot of help. Like.
And then we'll take the Pure Fairy one, though.
The Pure Fairy one is better than his brother.
Yeah, I'll say it's better than Mewtwo.
But I don't think it is.
Under. Right before Giratina.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that for sure. But I was about to say, I think Mewtwo might be better than it.
I'll have to get my shiny ones of these in order for me to use them in the tournament, so I don't mess up any of my stats too bad. Because I'm gonna have to really figure out how to use these mons. Well, no, or be doing them on Showdown. Either or.
I think when I'm looking at it, I was about to argue if Necrozma should be on the same unusable tier as Cali, but at least base form Necrozma is base 600, whereas base form Cali is 500. So I think where we have it is fine.
Yeah, and I think that they still got rid of, because one thing that I used to try to prepare Necrozma for, I don't know if they still got. Yeah, they
Meteor Beam.
No, I was looking for Rock Polish, but it's still a remove. I could have sworn it was removed from the game, and it has been removed from the game so far. So that was that was part of my tech that I used to use on Necrozma in the past, but we don't have that anymore. Um,
All right. I think before we let's do Eternatus and then we'll finish up with the Lion and Lunala.
all right. So
I
I'd
think
say it would
Eternatus.
actually.
Oh, you got it way higher than me.
Yeah, I think Eternus is actually a solid B tier mon.
I think Eternatus is between Ho-Oh and Kirim.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Really? So let's talk about this. All right.
Why do you got it so high?
So Meteor Beam, Power Herb Meteor Beam, the
Mm-hmm.
um, its general stat breakdown and just natural speed. So it's base 130 speed. So this thing is going to automatically be starting hitting like a good truck. Has the poison ability with the sludge bomb. You can have coverage with flamethrower. You have that power herb meteor beam that you can do. And then if you want to go with your Dynamax cannon, even though they took away the additional effect just for stab, you can. Or if you want to go with something different, we can go full on Draco Meteor. This thing's like offense and pressure, plus go with a power herb. And if you actually redirect anything away from that, because of course everybody should have a form of redirection on the team. Once you have that, maximize that amount of damage, and then and this is without having a modest nature, so you can still even go timid with that, and then boom, you're good. You're gonna be faster than Ogerpon here. You're taking out Ogerpon.
So
You can redirect around that too.
so let me break it down to you real fast. Look at how much the special attack investment you have in it.
Oh, that's if I want it
What's the
that
special
high.
attack? Hang on. What's the special attack stat? Go ahead and max it out. Put it 252, just for the thought experiment.
2v2,
What's that number?
You want
197.
Mm-hmm. Do
Yeah,
you
go
want
ahead.
modest
Put it
or no?
modest.
Modest?
Sure. Go ahead. Let's max it out.
216?
219. 216. Okay. Go back to Kirim. No. On Pokemon Showdown. Look at its stat.
Which
Go
one?
to Kirim.
Which Kieran?
The special attack one. I
Kyurem
think it's
White?
white.
So Kieran White. Oh no, this one is definitely going to be like without any investment.
No,
Far
no
superior.
investment.
Mhm.
Right. So how can you look at the different in no investment in my special attack here and tell me that Eternatus is better? I think Kirim White is better than Eternatus.
Simply
I also think
because
Dragon Ice is a pretty good typing.
actually
And I
because of
think
Dragon
Poison
Ice, because
Dragon
of the ice
and
type,
Poison Dragon is not as good.
but actually the ice typing is the exact reason why I would say hurts the Kieran forms, because of the sheer number of body press or physical offense, the fire types and things of that sort that's coming through. That's what's causing it to have more trouble, because they of course they would say ice is one of the worst defensive typings.
Yeah, but doesn't Dragon resist fire? So now it's just neutral.
Yes, it is. This one is going to be completely neutral. Well, completely not very effective, but this one also will take out the fire types. Or even if you don't want to run power herb, which you probably want to stick with the power herb, but like you can even get
Yeah, I
rid
think
of.
Eternatus is a very one set
I thought
kind
it
of
got earth
deal.
power. I thought it got earth power, but I guess I was wrong. So I'll just leave it with the flamethrower, or you can run with the protect in itself. But I don't think this mon has been explored enough. Just also the fact about it though is with the sheer issue or not, I wouldn't say issue, the sheer prevalence of Ogerpon, because Ogerpon is going to be a huge disruptor, and the fact that you can either force the Ogerpon to terrestrialize or you will one shot them. except for Sturdy, the rock one. That's the only one you will not one shot naturally. If you sludge bomb them, they're gone, and you're preserving your terrestrialization.
I agree with you that Eternatus is underexplored, and I'm not saying it's bad, but I think Kieran White is severely underexplored, and I think it could be better. You put Kieran White, let's just do a thought experiment. You know me. Let's go hyper offense. Let's give this bad boy a choice scarf, pair it with an Alolan Ninetales, and just click them blizzards.
Mm-hmm.
That's
nuking.
pretty good.
You can nuke.
Yeah, like, and I think that's doing as much, if not more, than whatever your Eternatus can do before and after a Meteor Beam.
So, given that,
Like, here we go. So, let's go Kieran White. I'm going to make Kieran White, let's say it's modest, right? Max special attack. We're just copy what you did. Who has a higher special attack after that?
oh, it definitely is going to be the Kieran White. Definitely.
No, I'm talking about after your Meteor Beam. Does it up your stage as well?
Oh, yes. It boosts my special attack by one stage.
So that would be times 1.5. So what is your special? If you went max modest,
Max
and
modest.
then you multiply that by 1.5, what would you be?
Okay, so that means I'll be 216 times 1.5. So I'll be at 324.
324. I'm 244 with modest and max investment. Like, I don't know if it's worth it. Like, I still think Kieran White is better, and I think both of them are underexplored.
Here's what I would say with this, especially with the amount of offense. The challenge is the fact of the speed tier. But the fact that also, if you were to always going to run the Kieran White on like an ice team, that means your defense is higher. So in comparison to that of Rayquaza, why don't we do this and have these two tiered together? Because this one,
I think Rayquaza is better than both.
see, I'm now have a bit of doubt, because if you are running this on an ice team, Rayquaza can't. Well, it'll have to run the airlock. Airlock is going to shut that down in order for that to work. But you already got Dragonite, so that's why I'm like, this is like, okay, you're using a restricted Dragonite form. This is like, what's the thing?
I like its speed too. I know that sounds weird because I mentioned Choice Scarf earlier, but it having 95 speed allows me to put it on hybrid teams, or I can go Trick Room or Tailwind and use it. Eternatus can't go on a Trick Room team.
Right. But what I'm saying though, in terms of typing, like how this one has Dragonite, this one has Baxcalibur. There we go. That's the name. But that's just the typing, because this is a special variant versus Baxcalibur, who's physical. So it has its own position. This is Poison Dragon. It's faster than all of them. So then if it went for its Meteor Beam, and if they do not terrestrialize, they're dead.
Yes.
This mon can take out, just by Meteor Beaming, 1, 2, definitely KO, regardless of the special defense. So 3, and it kind of starts. You'll have to switch your dragon attacks against these guys. You probably won't beat the Dialga. They'll trade blows, but just depends. Takes this one out. It'll take that one out, because it takes out all the Kyurem forms. And if you poison the Lugia, it's going to shut them all down.
Yeah.
Just about.
I mean, I'm okay with those three being grouped together, to be honest with you. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So we say it won't necessarily be B team, but the fact that these two, I think, are, as we would say, are both unexplored. We can't put them fully in B, but I think
you can't put them in B. See,
yeah,
in my opinion, B tier teams can make day 2.
Right.
The Pokemon in C tier, maybe one person out of the whole region will make day 2.
Right.
With them. Like if you're running Ho-Oh, You got to be that lucky dude. Had the perfect run. You run Rayquaza, you got to be that lucky dude.
Hmm.
Eternatus, like you got to be the one Kyurem player. Like it. Whereas you could tell me, hey, did you know 7 Kyogres made day two? Yeah, that could happen. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that.
Uh-huh.
Did you know 5 Groudons made it in? Yeah, I could see that. If you told me, hey, did you know that 5 Kyurem Whites made it in? I would be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. But this may be the new meta, but we'll find out. We'll see. We'll see. I highly doubt it. But it is what it is. But yeah, so I'd say these three will be grouped together right here. But since we already did Necrozma, but we forgot to do its other forms.
Yeah. Let, let's go ahead and knock out the Necrozma forms, and then we can end it on the kitty cat.
Mufasa. So we got all
Spoiler
the
alert,
prism
none of them are B
armors.
tier.
No, no, no. They're all. I'd say.
They're all C tier.
I say
Now
this
it's just
is.
arguing where they go in C tier. Uh
I think it.
the more I look at it, the more I like regular Palkia more than the origin forms of both of them. Like I'm not even looking at the Necrozma variants. I just see regular Palkia, and I want to move it higher than the origin forms, and I don't know why.
Really?
And it's just something like a hunch. There's no reason to like don't stress over it. I just
How do you think about this year? Higher than Reshiram, Dust. No, Dawn Wings. Dawn Wings Necrozma. Where the heck is my Necrozma? There it is. Yeah, so Dawn Wings. Very good special attack. It would be a trick. I would suggest to be run as a Trick Room on. The typing is good. You can't get faked out, but if you get hit with a dark attack, you're just going to need that prison armor just to try to keep alive, so you won't get one shot. But you just don't have the defense. You're going to have to do a good bit of investment for that.
yeah, it's too. I mean, when you look at those stats in a vacuum, they're great. But if you look at them in the restricted meta, they're too unspecialized.
Yeah.
I, I think we put Dusk Necrozma over Dawn Necrozma, and we put both of them over the regular kitty. And I think the other reason the Dawn one makes it over the regular kitty, because I think Solgaleo is really good, but I think the reason the two of them get higher than it is they both can do trick room setup stuff, and I don't think Solgaleo wants to be in that.
I've seen it run in Trick Room.
Yes, I have too, but I don't think that's where it shines. I don't think that's what it wants to do.
It's having
But I do think that Necrozma Dawn.
I think it's very
Yeah,
difficult because Dustmane is, your
no, give me
restricted
Necrozma
Metagross.
Dawn. Give
Dawn
me
is better.
Necrozma Dawn as the top one. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that one's. I think out of the three, that one's the higher of them.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I know I cut you off again. I'm sorry,
No, you're
and I
good.
think it. I think it's the higher of them because it can power herb, meteor beam, expanding force, trick room, moongeist beam. We can give it.
Well, it gets
We can
expanding
give it a
force too.
Terra Water. We can put it on a trick room team within DD for expand. It can be Psy Spam and trick room.
Yeah.
That's why. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I agree.
And I think that just gives it more versatility than the other ones.
Hmm.
And I think it's probably better. It's probably see in a vacuum. I think it's better than the Palkias and the Dialgas. But I think at the same time, there are other Pokemon that do the same job that it does. So why would I waste a restrictor spot doing that?
Yeah. Absolutely. But I mean, It's just because it's your favorite. You know,
It's
if
not my
it's
favorite.
well, I know not your favorite, but I'm just saying, like, you know, if it's somebody's favorite and they're like, oh, I really want to use this mon. Okay, why would you use it?
Put it over the origin forms too. I think it's better than them. I think it's more versatile. I think it can go Trick Room, it can go Psy Spam, and I think the other ones are locked into just bulky.
What about Ho-Oh? Lower than Ho-Oh?
No, I think Ho is better.
I'm cool with that.
I think Ho-Oh being such a bulky, supportive Tailwind mod makes it better than most things. Like, look at the value of Iron Jugs in this meta as a bulky Tailwind setter. Now imagine if you could also burn things.
Yeah.
I think that's what puts Ho-Oh a bit ahead of them. Honestly, not as a cop-out, I put the Necrozma cat behind it, and I put the cat behind the Necrozma cat. Because I think those two are still better than the Palkias and such.
I doubt that part. Like, this. That I'm cool with. This mon. I love this kitty. I love this kitty. I freaking have like
I do too.
3 or 4 of them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this kitty. I have the suicide one that just basically runs like Flare Blitz and Wild Charge and all these other moves, but it's like the Sunsteel Strike ignores abilities. It's good, but some of the mons are no longer even doing it. Oh, that'll be good. I'm not putting it here, but I'm just putting it just for relevance. I wonder if that breaks through Terra Shell. Ooh, I'm gonna have to look into that. Okay.
I think it's better than the Palkia and Dialga Origins. Like, I'm not trying to cop out. I think it actually goes behind the other Necrozma forms. I think it goes there.
I'm not sure.
Its ability and its signature move is really good.
It's just that it gets burned way too easily. And then it's like, oh, you gotta use your Terra Fire. Like, oh, well, then you're screwed. Because it has the ground type weakness already. So even if you go Terra Fire, that's where it's like, oh, I'm required to just deal with the ground type weakness. If I don't want to get burned.
So follow me here. What if we just weakness policy?
So they'll be afraid to do it until they're ready to just finish us off?
Yeah, we're weakness policy, and we can go Terra Water.
Weakness policy, Terra Water.
Protect, Sunsteel Strike, Psychic Fangs, Close Combat.
That can work.
We could pair it with a Coaching or a Howlmon, and now it becomes a threat.
That is what it would need. It just needs that right amount of support, especially being the fact that it just doesn't have as much speed as I would hope for. And that becomes the problem. I mean, I think honestly its placement is gonna just probably vary just naturally. I don't think it's better than the Horseman, but it could vary.
I'm looking through different teams that have run it before, and they all seem to be running it plus Gouging Fire. All of them. And they all seem to also be running some Icy Winder as well. So it looks like for Solgaleo, they're all running weakness policy. And they're all water type, like Fairy Water, or they're all Terra Water. And they all go with Gouging Fire, which is running Howl. And they all have an Icy Wind or a Tailwinder on the team as well. So, but that's why it's in C tier. It required 3 to 4 of the Pokemon to be a Pokemon.
Right. But you know what? I'm good with it here. Yeah.
Here's the next part of this video is we need to decide, are we going to work from the top down or the bottom up for our series of us playing games with these teams?
I definitely say top down. And the reason why I want to say that we're going to go with the top downs is because I think that as for all the viewers that are watching this video, even as right now, as they're trying to get their very best in potentially in the tournament in itself, we want to do with what is the most effective based on the current metagame. And as we go lower down, as people are like, oh man, I really want to use Ho-Oh. Okay, well, here's what we can come up with for a Ho-Oh team. There's a couple different sets, and here's how one or two of those sets would run on an actual team and test that out. Therefore, everybody can see how they can try to look into also the team building aspect of things and then try to make themselves better in terms of building around their favorite legendary restricted, and then from there working on building up their full squad and taking it to a tournament, see if they can take it any higher.
So our next video for this series, which you got to come up with a name for it. That's your job. I don't know what you want to call it, but this is your baby. We're gonna stick with this list. We're gonna start with Shadow Rider first.
That's right.
All right.
We will start with the Shadow Rider team. So that'll be our next one. We'll work with the Shadow Rider team. Then we'll work with a Miraidon team, and then we'll work with the Cali Ice team. And I think the name of this series, you know what? I'll come up with a name here in the near future, and then and it'll be part of the title of the video once it's uploaded. How about that?
I just want to mess with you and put you on the spot. That's all. That's all.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
All right. So for everybody that has watched up to this point, this is going to be our current tier system as it is. And we are going to start on doing some matches utilizing each individual restricted legendary so you can actually see how to use these mons in the nearby future. And then once we are done with all of this and seeing what we can come up with, we may or may not restructure our tier lists based upon how these teams are doing on for us, as well as in the current metagame through the tournaments that are going to be going on through this season as well. Our goal is to make sure we have this all done well before, I would say, NAIC, which is going to be held, I believe, in April, or it could be June. I believe it's June, actually. So
it's in June. It's in June.
Perfect. So yeah, so we got enough months for that. If you do enjoy this type of content and you want to see how these mons can be developed, make sure you are leaving a like, sharing, subscribing, and have those notifications turned on so you will be notified when those videos go live so you don't miss a beat, and then you can be prepared for the future tournaments. So I hope you all are ready for a great adventure, and we'll catch you all at the next one. Let me catch y'all later.